You're not going to believe this. Actually, it's so far out that you might, because nobody could make something like this up. God. Oh boy. See, but the question is, why am I telling you this story? Like, what are you supposed to get out of it that's going to help you cure something, And if you have that kind of question, which I think most people would when they're new to this, then that means you're new. Because people who are not new to this and who are, do this for a while, have been doing this for a while, know that the curing is all about guidance. But when you do lesson 1, it may not seem that way. Even though, see, when people start, okay, your basic things that you see the kids doing in lesson 1, and you presumably have done those things. I mean, I'm assuming that you've started and that you've done the lessons, you're doing this yourself, and so you've been experiencing this directly, and maybe have cured a few things, and or certainly have cured a few things, because the minute you start doing this, you cure something. Generally, most people, because they feel different. And, in case you didn't do the math back there, or in case I forgot to mention it in lesson 1, this I don't know, I may have actually. When you feel better, it means you've cured something. Like there was something making you feel bad and it's gone, so you felt better. And maybe you didn't know there was anything that was causing you not to feel as good as you could possibly feel back then. Okay? So when you hear this story, see, the story I'm going to tell you is way past the kind of guidance that you were trained to get in lesson 1. And this is why people who've been getting guidance all their lives die of cancer. Because the, guidance, as I'm going to tell it here in its extreme form. So I wanted to give you a perspective on it. That's why I'm telling you this story. That's why I'm going to tell you this story. The story is an example. It gives you an extreme perspective on guidance. It's way past... it's the obvious guidance. And you see, guidance I'll tell you more about it, after I tell the story. That's probably the best way to do it. But you have to realize, right from the beginning, that, what was the first thing I said in lesson 1? You are now being trained. And here you are in this movie, and you're in the middle of being trained, sort of towards the beginning, but you're into it, to follow a thread of signals to and beyond a negative medical test. Actually, what I said is, the most important words on this whole college, you are now being trained should you choose to accept your training. Those are the most important words I ever said. It's not even the whole sentence, but I'm assuming now, since you're watching this movie, that you've chosen to accept your training, or at least to begin to accept it. And you're going to be trained. You're going to, as you get the guidance, because you see, okay. You're following a thread of signals to a negative medical test. Yes? Okay. And by definition, the thread is guidance. Yes? That's what a thread that you follow is. You're being guided out of the labyrinth of darkness of the illness and into the light of, cure. To use a smarmy metaphor. Sort of a new agey sounding metaphor there. You're being guided to cure. And see, when you watch the kids, they're doing something very direct. Do I have any viruses? Boom, they get a signal. Okay, I'm I'm now removing all the viruses, and may take them a minute, but boom, they get a signal. Yeah? And those are guidance, but it doesn't look, people don't quite know what that is when they first see it, and they think that it's a procedure. Like a lot of people, I get email from people, which I delete, saying, tell me how to cure my whatever it is, you know, what's the procedure? Why don't you just boil it down, simplify it, you know? It ain't simple, baby, you know, it's guidance. And in every moment, those children, as you watch them cure those things, they are being guided. They may not know it. But that this is the very, see, the reason that this is so earth-shaking, like what you're doing here, like why is this so amazing? Why is it so different from everything else that's ever come before it? And why is it, what makes it so unique, so special, you know? Like odd, really. It's an alien reality, actually, for most people. And, you know, cure is an alien reality. And the reason is, the reason that the thing that makes it so, you know, so what it is, see, most guidance is like what you're going to hear about in the story. You know, you get this bolt of lightning comes into your life, and you may be looking for it for weeks. Whereas you watch the kids cure something, and like within minutes, I mean, that girl was like 4 minutes to, you know, at least starting to have an allergy disappear. Like that was the first thing she ever did. It was like 4 minutes long. You know, this is what all the cure shows are like, okay? Except the ones where the person fails and we don't put them up. You know? And there ain't many of those, you know. But there are some, yes, there are some. In case you think you suspect you're going to be the failure, well, you know, maybe. What do I know? I'm a movie. I don't know anything about you, so I can't really talk about that, but anyway, I should get on with this story, okay? But this is the reason I'm telling you the story, because I want to give you, okay, look, you have so far, your perspective on guidance from lesson 1 has been assume the position, okay? Which you need to do right now. That is the thing for you to be doing, you know? When you listen to me, every time when you ever listen to me, you know, when you download MP3 audios and listen to me, or a cure show for that matter, assume the position and watch for spontaneous signals, because this is guidance, and you'll probably be getting some. And you see, you know, spontaneous signals are a little more sophisticated form of guidance than what you see the kids do, where they're asking a question, getting a yes-no answer, and this is more like you're listening to something and boom, you get a signal and you go, wait a minute, you know, hang on a second, you know, well, what happened there? See, and of course it's even more spontaneous and more sophisticated when you haven't assumed the position and you're not looking for spontaneous signals and you get one. And then what I'm going to tell you here in this story is like way beyond that, which is why I was saying you probably won't believe it. But, you know, since you've done what you've done so far, you know, maybe you will believe it. So here it comes in the next segment of this of this YouTube movie. In case you blundered onto this from YouTube and you have no idea what I'm talking about, that's the website, okay? So you can go there and find all the segments right in a row there, okay? I will see you, be seeing you over there in a second.